Welcome to pay-to-play impressions for Playbig Quest: The Crusades. Playbig Quest: The Crusades is an exclusive game for PC. It's a grand strategy game with some tactical battle elements. The battle will happen in a 2D space and I will show you that. Well, let me load up the game and I'll show you exactly how the game looks like and what do you get to experience. Here we are, just gonna load up the latest save I have in the game and skip through that. So this is how the game looks like overall. So visually you can see it's okay. It's perfectly fine. Like, interface is pretty clear. Everything where's what. Then there's also an encyclopedia here that will tell you everything you need to know. The first mission, and I believe other missions, will also guide you through the interface and what to do and so on. So they act as tutorials. There's also ability to do a free play mode where you pick up any country you want from the period which is after the First Crusade and establishment of the Crusader states, and then you can go ahead and play through that nation as its leader. So let me show you that. I'm going to zoom out. So here are some of the nations. Now that's not all the nations that are available. There are actually way more available here. And you can also look up a few things in a different way. There are way more other things, other nations available here, but it's just that for this mission specifically, that's all the nations I am interacting with. But like I said, it's possible to choose other nations. They are all available. Okay, so like I said, visually clear. Also visually you can see its graphics are in cartoonish style. And the game overall is not a perfect kind of telling of the period of those of the Crusades and so on. Rather it's inspired by them, and then they just took for historical facts and then they made them entertaining for their purposes. So there's a bit of funny dialogue happening and so on. There's few allusions to the current world in the game. All that is present. So in that way you're not kind of going to be learning history as it happened really. Some events will happen as they happen in history, but overall there's a lot more of humor put in. So think of it as something like the works of Alexandre Dumas for the Three Musketeers series, right? He took the real historical characters and he changed them up to make them more entertaining. There you go. So that's pretty much what I would say visually and overall what the game is about. Now let me show you about just a bit about the game itself. As you can see, I control actually the Sultanate of Rum. I didn't mention that, I should have mentioned that. So this blue area here, and I can do so and control the area through different systems that are available to me. So I have administration where I can research things. For that I need research points to be made available for me, and then I can research things, and depending on what I research, different things will be opened up to me. I also have ability to borrow money. If I'm short on cash, I can borrow money, but I have to pay them back at exuberant rate. And I also have something called a boot camp that allows me to hire new soldiers. And the soldiers that I hire here will go into the reserves. Now, from the reserves, there will be a way for me to put them into what the generals control. Here it is, and I have a barracks, and this general can only control 2 type of units at the same time, and I can have units move into the army from the reserves, but I don't have that right now available because, well, the general already has 2 units in his army, right? And that's maximum for this one. Now, not all generals are like that. Some generals can have, in this case, 3 units, and that maximum is 5. You just have to level up your general. The next experience bar here. By the way, I should have mentioned that the game runs at 60 frames per second, but there's not much when it comes to video settings. If I go into there, so it runs at that high. It runs at this high quality settings without any problems. And as usual, my hardware is in the description. All right. So what else we got? Well, we also got diplomacy screen that we can use. So here in diplomacy screen, I choose, let's say, which nation I want to interact with, and it shows me at which point am I with that nation. Am I at war? Am I trading, or am I close to having an alliance? I can improve relations by spending pretty much money. I can give gifts. I can send ambassadors, which also cost money. Have a bit of a liaison with them, or just do nothing. I can also ask for tribute, I can declare wars, propose a military alliance, propose trade or suspend trade, and so on. All that is possible depending on in what situation I am in. Alright, so that's the diplomacy. Then there's also religion section here. Again, using money, I can improve my relationship with a religion, and that will improve my overall relationship with all the nations of the same religion. So that's another thing I can do. So this is kind of administrative options, overall the grand strategy options here. Besides this kind of information that tells me overall about my nation and what's coming and terms of income and what's going to happen. And now I can also interact on the general level. So what kind of interactions I can do? Let's say if I pick a general, the general can do some interactions. So one thing they can do is rest. If your troops are damaged, you can rest to recover the health of your troops. Also, your troops can be upgraded. So I can try to upgrade these troops if I have the resources to do so and all the other requirements. I know I can upgrade them because my experience for these troops is at the max. That's what allows me to upgrade. I can also buy medals for them that will modify them in one way or another, like they gave them a certain bonus. I can also what's called dissolve troops, which will move them into reserves, right? That's it's kind of a weird when you're reading dissolve troops, you're thinking that the troops will completely disappear, but no, they actually move into reserve. There's a bit of a problem like that in the game with some of the, I think it's a non-English team that made it, so there's translation issues. In some cases, there's few things I misspelled, a few things I said grammarly, I think, incorrectly. So some things are not phrased as clearly as possible, but it's possible to understand. To figure it out, it's not that bad, really. So, like I said, this is one thing that I can do with my general. I can just tell them, in this case, I can say I want this general to rest. And so this general will rest. Now, there's another thing I can do. I can say I pick a general and I can say I want to go to a mosque. I believe for the Christian nations that will be a church. I go to the mosque, and there's a few things I can do here in the mosque. There's different characters I can interact with. This one, let's say, I can put in the candles here on the altar, which will improve my overall interactions with anybody else in the mosque. Besides that, I can also donate money to the mosque and then play this kind of a coin flipping game that will determine what kind of bonus I will get in return for my donation. There's also this kind of what's called the Tomb Explorers and type of thing, a treasure hunters. Basically, it's a spoof off quite clearly of Lara Croft. There's also another spoof of Indiana Jones that I already worked through. If you pick to go ahead with them and kind of work with them, you're gonna just run through type of a battle concept there. It's not that interesting anyway. So I'm just gonna skip that, and you can go ahead and do, let's say, this one. This is my ability to make shisha. Well, in the mosque, kind of strange, but you make shisha and you can earn money by selling shisha to earn extra income. So let's make some shisha, and it will show you actually that coin flipping game that I was talking about that are available here. So I'm trying to land the coins heads up, and that worked, and hopefully, as you can see, better shisha is produced, which of course will produce more income when sold, and that didn't work out. So there you go. And so hopefully that will sell and I'll have more income next time. And that's my action with this general. What else I can do? Well, I can this guy, I can send him to do something else called policing. So if you have discontent in your cities, you can police them. In this case, I have some discontent here, so I can send this guy to fight them off. You can also bribe the people who are striking, and they'll go away. To do so, I would need to go into the inn here, and they would appear here, like at this point, because I'm attacking them and they're already not here, but they would appear here and you just offer them money and they go away. Also in the inn you might see traveling generals that you can hire. In the inn you have to talk to them to convince them to join you. There's a mini game about that. You can talk to the innkeeper who will heal your troops for money, right? When I'm resting, I'm using resources to kind of heal the troops. This innkeeper heals the troops for money, and it does it immediately. While resting, you only do it in percentages, so it takes a while to heal the troops back all the way. Additionally, you got all these ruffians here, and you can fight them. Each general can fight all of them, right? Because I already fought all of them with this general. I only can fight one of these guys now. So when you initiate the fight, you will fight these enemies, and the key here, or the approach here, is that I think it gives you type of a bit of a training tutorial to fight different scenarios. It also gives you some kind of benefits in the end when you win them. Alright, so we're not gonna do that with this guy. We're actually gonna go to the mosque and we're gonna play another mini game here, which calls Stacking Books, which allows me to gain research points. So we're gonna head and do that and say, okay, let's stack some books. So I'm gonna put blue here. There we go. And now let's see. We also want to put well, I guess we can try to put another blue here. And then we can, I guess we can put a red here and gray here, and this is gonna work. That's the way. Good. It's actually pretty good situation for us. And finally, we can also put the green here. So there you go. So now the game tells me I earned 48 research points, so I can go research something with that. Finally, also have ability. Well, this guy would need to rest, but I also have ability to attack somebody. To do so, I go ahead for commands. It will ask me to choose the city I start from and which city I want to attack from there. They have to be connected by roads, otherwise you can't do it. So that's pretty much overall, I would say, the overlook of the game. I'm gonna tell this guy to rest. So, in the real reason the real reason I'm gonna say, I didn't give you any other reasons, but the reason this is pay-to-play impressions is because, well, it's an interesting grand strategy game in itself. I know of other grand strategy games, and I have other grand strategy games, so playing through this one, while the humor is there, it's kind of interesting. I don't really feel any more kind of a need to go ahead and play through the rest of it, because to me it's like, well, there are other grand strategy games I can play. This one does not in any way kind of looks unique enough for me. Let me show you how the combat looks like, and we kind of wrap it up from there. So once we click end turn, that I have to do because all combat is resolved at the end of the turn. So it will show me the actions by all the other nations and what's happening. That includes all the different alliances and stuff like that. They're doing all negotiations. All will be shown to me. Now, different nations like Mongols and Assassins act slightly differently from other nations. So keep that in mind. There's a bit of a kind of a mechanic there for them also. By the way, there are historical events that will arise. So let's say like the Empire of Nicaea that you see there in green actually appeared during the game. It wasn't there when to start off when my mission. It's separated. There was also the Abbasid Caliphate here also appeared in yellow. So now the game is telling me, there you go, that's your mission, and let's the combat mission. Let's go ahead in and we're gonna have a fight. Like I said, it's a very linear approach to the fighting. I can send my soldiers and tell them, okay, step 1, type of tile forward. As you can see, the messages are sent by carrier pigeon, and the idea is that you don't have a real-time type of a capability to signal your soldiers. You have to send them a pigeon, and it's gonna take a while for them to receive, so there's a certain delay. Now I sent my cavalry to attack by charging. I can also tell them to auto charge because I have that ability unlocked. I can tell my soldiers to retreat, to step back, to move back, and so on. So there's a bunch of strategies available. Now these guys are very easy to defeat, so therefore I'm not gonna be wasting much strategy elements to it. When you besieging cities, you're gonna have similar setup, but you also need to control the siege engine, and you're not much as controlling, but you're managing the siege engine to make sure that it breaks down the walls so that you can attack the soldiers hiding behind the walls. Besides this, what else there to talk about what to do in this game? Well, there's other missions I mentioned that available. So there's also free play available. You just pick whatever country you want. There's a DLC with I believe 2 additional missions called that available. The DLC is called Promised Land. And so, well, overall, my conclusion on this, that this is a, well, this is a good game. It has a lot of content. It's entertaining in its way, and it's enjoyable to play. Also, it's a cool game because as a player, you control a leader of one of the nations in the Crusading period, and you can choose to do a bunch of things. From besides the whole usual research stuff, you can you can try the pagans, which they call them pagans. I think the proper translation should be infidels or heretics or something like that. So you can try them for your religious because they are heretics. You have a different religion, and you're gonna get certain benefits from that. So kind of this different actions are also kind of makes the game cool. Besides the fact that you're also controlling one of the nations during the Crusader period. Well, that's all I had to say about this game. Thank you for watching and for listening. If you like this video, please like it. If you didn't like it, don't like it. And please follow and subscribe.